So you've just graduated nursing school, you've landed your first job, and now you're making more money than you've ever seen in a single paycheck. But you don't know what to do with it. I've been in your position. I know how it feels. It took me and Monica about 7 years after graduating from nursing school to realize that we were living way above our means and waiting for that next paycheck to come just so we could make ends meet. We were making a combined income of around $200,000 when we were living in New York City, but it sure as hell did not feel like it. We were not investing in our 401ks. We were not saving any money for emergencies, and our net worth was in the negative. But hey, we were traveling the world and our friends thought we were rich, so that's what counts, right? Wrong. Here are my secrets on how to budget as a nurse so you can avoid being a broke nurse. And I'm going to tell you how Monica and I went from a net worth in the negatives to over $675,000 in under 5 years. First, let me get something out of the way. This video is not about creating a side hustle or starting a business, because for the majority of you out there, you may not be interested in that. Or maybe you do want to start a business, but you don't want to take the initiative to actually get one up and running. So if that's the kind of video that you want, we can save that one for a later date. Now, for all of you other nurses out there, the first thing you need to do when you get a job as a new grad is invest in your 401k. And if you've been a nurse for more than a year, it's time to get started. I don't know what you're waiting for, but before you do all of that, take a look at all of your debts. Do you have student loans? Do you have credit card debt? If the interest rate on any of your student loans or debts is 7% or higher, do not contribute to your 401k or any other retirement accounts until you pay those debts off, and pay them off as soon as possible. I remember when Monica and I still lived in New York City. At one point, each of us was paying $4,500 per month towards our student loan debts. After you've paid off your student loans, max out your 401k every year if you can. The earlier in your career that you invest, the happier your future self is going to be. Trust me on this one. I look at our 401ks now, and they're standing at a combined $215,000, but it sure as heck did not start out that way. Those first few years are going to feel like you are just throwing your money away. If we were to stop investing today, our 401k investments would continue to grow to over $1.7 million by the time I reach retirement age. Mind you, I'm older than Monica by 3.5 years. And for those of you that are not familiar with a 401k, it's essentially a retirement savings plan that's provided to you by your employer. This plan is going to allow you to contribute a portion of your pre-tax income into an investment account where it can grow over time until you reach retirement age, which at this point in 2023 is 59.5. Again, these contributions are made on a pre-tax basis. This means that they are deducted from your income before any kind of taxes are applied to it. This is the key, because in the government's eyes, it will appear as if you're earning less than you would had you not been investing in your 401k. So here's an example. Let's say you make $100,000 per year, and 30% of it goes towards federal and state income tax, as well as like Medicare and Social Security. You'd normally be left with $70,000. But let's say you max out your 401k. The current contribution limit is about $22,500. So take your original $100,000 and subtract $22,500 from that. Now, instead of $100,000 in gross income, it looks like you only earned $77,500. So now when the IRS looks at your earnings, because your income is taxed in brackets or progressively, your income is going to end up in a lower tax bracket. And instead of having 30% of your income going towards taxes, maybe 24% of it is going to go towards taxes. So essentially, after that $77,500 is taxed by the government, you're going to be left with $58,900, which is less than the $70,000 you would have brought home had you not invested in your 401k. But in addition to this $58,900 you're now bringing home, you're also investing, not saving, but investing another $22,500. And yes, you're going to be bringing home a reduced amount to the bank every single year. But the beauty of your investments is that they will compound over time. So an investment of $22,500 every single year for 38 years is going to be worth $4.1 million, assuming that your investments grow at a rate of 7% year over year. Of that $4.1 million, your contribution totals would have been around $860,000. That is the amount of money you would have contributed out of your own paycheck. And the other $3.3 million would have been the compound rate of return on those $860,000 that you contributed. Now think about that for a moment. If you use a withdrawal rate of 4%, that means you could cash out $13,666 per month in retirement. And that doesn't even take into account your Social Security and your pension if you have one. And when I look at my 401k, I look at it as an insurance policy. And what do I mean by that? Well, right now, I'm only working 20 hours a week. Monica's per diem. But But our goal over the last 2 years has been to focus on our business. And because we continue to invest in our 401k every single year and we max it out, should we stop running this business and we give it up altogether, we still have that 401k to fall back on. The next thing you should do is look into investing in a Roth IRA, which is a retirement account that you open up and invest after tax money into, but have the benefit of being able to withdraw whatever you put into it tax-free 5 years after your contribution is made. And another good thing about the Roth IRA is that you will not have to pay taxes when you cash it out in retirement. And if you want to save on medical supplies and medicines, if you want to get braces, or if you want to save money on toiletries, consider opening up a flexible spending account if your employer offers it. This is a mistake that Monica and I almost made when our daughter needed braces. It was going to cost us $5,500 to pay for her braces. And when I mentioned this to a coworker of mine, she asked me why I didn't have an FSA account. At the time, I didn't even know what an FSA account was. So I looked it up, and an FSA account is basically an account where you can have up to $3,050 withheld from your paycheck pre-tax in order to pay for medical and dental expenses. This means that the FSA would leave you with a lower income tax bill at the end of the year if you actually end up spending the money. But you have to be careful, because if you don't spend that money, you may end up losing almost all of it. The IRS only allows you to roll over $615 to the next year. And if you have an expensive insurance plan, look to see if you're eligible to open up a health savings account. This is a plan that allows you to invest in stocks and index funds through a brokerage like Vanguard or Fidelity. Your contributions to an HSA are also tax deductible, or if done through your employer, can be made on a pre-tax basis. And the good thing about an HSA is that although you can only use it for medical bills prior to retirement, after the age of 65, you will be able to withdraw that money for any reason. Although you will end up paying income tax on your withdrawals if the reason for the withdrawal is not a qualified medical expense. Next, if you've done all those things, or at the very least paid off your debt and started contributing the maximum amount to your 401k, go to Fidelity, Vanguard, or another brokerage and open up a taxable brokerage account. This is an account where you will be able to pick stocks or index funds to invest in with your take-home pay. At the very least, try to invest 5% of your income in your brokerage account. And better yet, do not try to time the market or invest in a stock that you have no idea what the company is about. Instead, consider investing in an index fund that tracks the stock market, like a total stock market index fund or an S&P 500 index fund. As you begin to manage all of these accounts, it's going to start to get overwhelming. So one thing that I do is add every one of those websites where we hold a financial account to a separate folder in my web browser. So if I ever need access to one of them, I never lose track of them. And if there's one very important thing that you need to do once you have this system going, is create another folder for your bills so you can keep track of all of your bills going forward. Also, if you can, pay for your bills, groceries, or utilities with a credit card. Monica and I put every single expense on our credit cards, and from January to July of this year, we earned a total of $704 by cashing out on our credit card reward points. But a word of warning, I am only going to recommend credit cards to those of you who have self-control and are on a mission to reach financial independence. Do not spend on your credit card what you do not already have in your bank account. Repeat that with me. Do not spend on your credit card what you do not already have in your bank account. And what I mean by this is that immediately after making a purchase on your credit card, you should have money in your bank account ready to make a payment for those purchases. Never roll over a balance on your credit card. Rolling over a balance means that if you spend $500 today and your credit card charges you an interest rate of 17.99%, you are going to pay $7.45 the next month, in addition to the $500 you spent on your original purchase. This may not seem like a lot initially, but as that balance increases and you continue to roll it over month after month, believe me, it is going to add up. So don't carry a balance. And while we're on the topic of banking, open up an account with a bank that will pay you interest for banking with them. Banks like PNC and SoFi are offering interest rates that are close to or above 4.5%, while banks like Chase and Bank of America are only offering you 0.01% for leaving your money in one of their savings accounts. So even though most of our accounts are with Chase, we never save our money with Chase. Once you've set up all of these accounts, something that I've learned from the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi is to automate. Set up automatic bill payments and transfers. Switch bill due dates to align with your pay schedule. So if you usually get paid at the middle and the end of the month, see if you can change your billing due dates to the 15th of the month and the 30th of the month, and set up automatic transfers to your savings accounts and your Roth IRA. Also, make sure you create automatic payments for your bills and your credit card balances. Otherwise, it is going to drive you nuts when you have to remind yourself to pay for the gas, the electricity, the rent or mortgage, your cell phone bill, your internet bill at home, you name it. You are going to be overwhelmed with all of these bills as time goes by. And set up email notifications to review credit card statements before your payment is made. And another tip that goes along with those notifications is to sign up for notifications every time a purchase is made on your credit card. This has actually previously saved us, because I once received several notifications back to back telling me that purchases were being made at a department store that I had not even been to. An Uber ride was even paid for with our credit card. Once we received those notifications, I immediately opened up the app on my phone, and lo and behold, those transactions were in fact being made, but they were not being made by me or Monica. So I called the credit card company and they immediately shut down the credit card and sent me a new one. So make sure you sign up for purchase notifications, and you need to establish a savings goal of 3 months worth of bare bones income. This is what we call an emergency fund. In case somebody in the family gets ill and you have to take off from work for an extended period of time, or you yourself get into an accident, or let's say you took a day trip to San Francisco and somebody broke into your car. Speaking from experience here, this has actually happened to me and Monica. Also, use an app or a website like Empower, which is formerly known as Personal Capital. This is the app that I personally use, and you can get a link to this app as well as everything else that I mentioned in this video in the description of this video. Or you can use mint.com or the Mint app, which is another one that I use, but I still prefer Personal Capital because it's made with high net worth individuals in mind. And I use this app to track our net worth, our spending, our cash flow, and our investments. Now, after you've set up your investment account, paid your bills, bought your groceries, and saved at least 3 months for your emergency fund, go on as many vacations as you want. Spend money on your hobbies. Buy yourself a fancy watch, but don't go into debt along the way. Spend only what you have in your bank account, and if you want to make a large purchase, save 5 to 10% of your income in one of those high yield savings accounts that I mentioned earlier to pay for it in full. Before Monica and I got our shit together, we had already financed a $70,000 car, but when we were determined to pay it off and get out of debt, we only had a balance of $30,000, and we paid it off in less than 3 months. That's the type of mentality that you have to have before you make a purchase. Grind for it if you need to. Pay for it in full, and you won't have to carry that debt burden with you. If you found these tips helpful, give this video a like, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, and subscribe to this channel. Do all of those things. And if you didn't know, I also provide consultations if you have any questions about your nursing career or your finances. And I also have a video of the highest paying hospitals in California if you're looking to work somewhere where you are compensated more than you will be anywhere else in the country. So make sure you check out that video here, and I'll be working on a 2023 version soon, so stay tuned for that.